What's up, guys? It's Corb here again for Acoustic World. Back in the car, I know, but coming at you with a quick video of my favorite bluegrass flat pickers, basically the acoustic guitarists that had the biggest impact on me. I wanted to share with you guys, just in case you're new to acoustic guitar or maybe new to the bluegrass world. There's a lot of really awesome music that I just never discovered until I started playing bluegrass myself, and only then did I start listening to it. Just because, it's just none of these guys are really the type of thing you'd hear on the radio growing up, or at least where I lived, sadly enough. So it was kind of left to me to discover them on my own, which I'm fortunate to have done so. But, just today I was driving a buddy of mine around, and I had some of this music I'm about to mention just playing in my car, and he's like, this is my favorite music that I've ever heard, like, in a car ride. So it just goes to show, like, how good these guys are, and yet how underrated they can be simultaneously. So we'll jump right in, and if you want to listen to these guys, I'd recommend just typing them into YouTube. Or I also wrote a full article on this where I list my 30 favorite bluegrass acoustic flat picking players of all time. So I'll link that in the description below, and that has all my favorite, like, YouTube videos of each player, interspersed throughout the article. So just makes it kind of convenient. But jumping right in, the first guy I would point you towards is Doc Watson. And Doc is really cool because he's I think he is the most skilled player I'm about to mention at both not only flat picking, traditional bluegrass style playing, but also an incredible finger picker. And a lot of people don't know that he started out on the electric. I think he played like Les Pauls for a while in bands, and then moved into acoustic music after that. So I always found that kind of relatable because that's how I started out too. But Doc now is known as just a masterful acoustic guitar player, and his son Merle Watson is well, I think he also passed away, unfortunately. But anyways, his son was a really good banjo player, and I think a guitar player too, and they did a couple of albums together and would play music together really frequently. So if you want to hear Doc's playing, some of my favorite songs would be like his interpretation of Shady Grove is really awesome. My Dear Old Southern Home is really good, and Blue Railroad Train. There's so many. He's got an awesome voice too, and he'll occasionally do like yodeling. So just a super talented guy. Doc Watson, definitely check his stuff out. And next is going to be Tony Rice. Tony is my acoustic guitar hero. He's, you know, I just I got into bluegrass when I heard the Pizza tapes, which are a recording with David Grisman, who's like an awesome mandolin player, Jerry Garcia, who I always loved from the Grateful Dead, and Tony. So it's like a triple powerhouse group of just those three guys, like, jamming around, having fun. But I started listening to that album before I knew what bluegrass was or who Tony Rice was. And of course Jerry's playing is pretty good on it, but I kept saying to myself, like, oh my god, who is this other guitarist? Like, because his licks and solos just kept blowing me away. And I don't think Tony does any singing on that album, but his guitar playing is just phenomenal, as it is in everything he does. But yeah, that's how I discovered Tony Rice, and since then he's been probably the number one influence on my acoustic guitar playing, even if you can't hear it, because I'm not nearly as good as he is. But The Church Street Blues album is pretty freaking incredible if you want to listen to Tony's stuff. That's just him playing solo, I think, for the whole album. The song Freeborn Man is really good. And if you listen to the band, the Bluegrass album band, pretty much all of it is pretty Tony Rice heavy. He sings most of the songs, most of the guitar breaks are his. So those are three awesome places to go to hear some freaking incredible Tony Rice music. So last but not least, I would point you towards Norman Blake, who, speaking of Church Street Blues, actually wrote that song. I think Norman is the best songwriter out of these three. Tony's a good songwriter, but he's not very prolific. He hasn't written that much. He does a lot of Gordon Lightfoot covers, interestingly enough, which are really, really good. And I love Gordon Lightfoot. So if you like Gord, then definitely check out Tony's covers of that. But Norman Blake, he wrote Church Street Blues. He wrote Ginseng Sullivan. He's just written so many cool like bluegrass classics, most of which become well known later on when being covered by someone else, funnily enough. But he's a really, really good guitarist. Just an amazing cross picker. I think he's probably the best cross picker and the best multi instrumentalist out of all these guys. There are albums where Norman Blake plays every acoustic instrument on the album, and it's just him doing the entire album, and it sounds like he's with this like masterful band, but it's all him. So that's pretty cool. But check out his version of Church Street Blues because the guitar playing's pretty amazing. Randall Collins is another one of my favorite songs of Norman's. Jimmy Brown the Newsboy, he does a really cool version of. And so those are my top Norman Blake favorites, but I'm sure I'm leaving stuff out. So I'm curious to know who's had the biggest impact on you guys in terms of acoustic guitar. They don't even have to be bluegrass players, but let me know in the comments who your favorites are and what you think of mine, and I'll see you in the next video. So take care, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.